Hey everybody, the numbers are in for Breakfast Point for May 2020. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. There's a lot that's gone on in the real estate market in the last 60 days. Real estate doesn't usually move this quickly or this dramatically, but there's a lot that's gone on. So this update will be a little bit longer for you data nerds out there. There's just a couple things I want you to understand about what's happened in the real estate market just to help you guys going forward. First of all, you may or may not have seen some of our updates about real estate as it relates to the coronavirus pandemic. What you're looking at here is a chart from a company called Showing Time. Showing Time is a service that real estate agents and brokers use to schedule showing appointments. So if I have someone that wants to see 5 houses in one day, instead of calling 5 agents or emailing 5 agents, there's just one company we go to schedule everything. Just saves us a little time. But what's nice about it is it's collecting data, and we can see how many showing appointments are actually scheduled and kept. So I started watching this early in early March when coronavirus started to really come on strong. And we knew that this was going to happen. We knew fewer and fewer people were going to get out and look at real estate. We didn't know when things would pick back up again. And if you think about it, it's very simple. To have a real estate closing for someone to sell a house, then someone had to have a contract 30 or 45 days before that with the buyer and seller agreeing to coming to an agreement. Well, a buyer has to get out and look at real estate in most cases to be able to do that. So I wanted to see and track when we started to see any kind of uptick, because that's a really good predictor, a really nice way to look into the future of the real estate market. What's going to happen in a month or two in closings can be easily determined by showing level activity. So at the bottom of our, so far into this, around beginning of April, we bottomed out at about 85% less showings happening, meaning year over year, we had about 85% fewer showings in 2020 than we did in 2019. What was surprising to me was how quickly we started to come back up. There were still a lot of unknowns in April with coronavirus, but I was surprised to see how quickly things moved up and how dramatically they moved up. And the last week or so, 10 days, we're really about even year over year in the amount of people getting out and looking at real estate. So the next thing I wanted to track was, are people actually making offers? Are people doing business? Are people buying houses? It's one thing to want to get out of the house and look at real estate, but are people in the position to make offers on houses? Do they feel confident enough to do it? I know plenty of times there's a need, but this is an important thing to understand also. So the blue line in this chart over here to the right shows us the number of new contracts that are written in any given week. And here's the column that goes along with that. Early on, obviously, we were going to be off a little bit. We got away with a couple of weeks in early March. We were down 47%, and then we were actually up 50% week over week. But then we started to move down 26%, down 30%, down 56%, down 70%, meaning we wrote 70% fewer contracts that week than we did the year before. But look at what's happened since then. We've really recovered, surprisingly to me, pretty strong. We jumped from down 70% to down only 17, then down 19 the next week. We were actually up. Look at May. We were up 93% year over year. We were up 83% the next week. We were pretty flat one week, and then we were up 12%. In the entire month of May, we were actually up, writing more new contracts, and not just a few new contracts. In a couple of cases, 93% more new contracts have been written in the month of May than they were in 2019. So pretty incredible if you think about where we are in the world in the state of just coronavirus stuff alone. So to look at Breakfast Point specifically, or we'll look at the residential market first. So this is, you guys know I love this chart. I'm sorry, I'm going to wear you out on it. Again, there's some real important things here going on to help us figure out what pricing is going to do. So remember, the red line represents the number of homes for sale at any given point. What we're looking at here is just the Panama City Beach housing market, prices between $250,000 and $500,000. I know we have a few in the upper range over 500 in Breakfast Point, but for the most part, that'll hit our market. And this includes everything in that price range. Since 2018, we've been adding units for sale. So the market's softening a bit. The black line represents the number of closings. But the market's been softening again. You guys have seen this before. The market's been softening from a very, very hot market. So remember, months of inventory, about 4 to 5 months of inventory is neutral. Traditionally, it was 5 or 6 months of inventory, but I think marketing happens a lot faster than it used to. It doesn't take 30 days to run a newspaper ad or run a magazine ad. So 4 to 5 days, if that's neutral in a real estate market now, 4 to 5 months, look at where we've been. The housing market stayed very, very hot. Post-hurricane, it even got a little bit hotter. It's cooled somewhat. We're maybe in neutral market territory. The last 2 months, it's really slowed down, obviously, into buyer market territory, just with the lack of activity there in a little bit of March and beginning of April. But I can tell you just from the last 3 or 4 weeks, things have been very, very busy. So when we start to look at the number of closings in June, I expect a little bit of recovery there. If we look at Breakfast Point, I try to break it down to a couple of different markets, the resale market, and then including all the new construction. This one is the entire Breakfast Point market. So inventory has really come down since about April of last year. We've come up a little bit in the last month or two, but that's not surprising. A couple people put their homes up for sale, and we haven't had a lot of activity until recently. If you look at this months of inventory number, remember, I mean, anything under 4 or 5 is a seller's market. That's where you see strong. The sellers have a real advantage in negotiating. Breakfast Point has been a really, really strong market, has been for some time. If you look at just the resale market, there's not as much data to analyze, so the graph's going to be a little bit more all over the place. But if you just scan through these numbers, at worst, we've had a period where we were neutral. But generally, with just a little bit of patience in the resale market, houses are still selling fairly quickly. If you look at what actually is sold in May, the month of May, we had 6 sales. I'll go through with you here pretty quick. Most of these were new construction. We had a new construction sell over on Basin Bayou, a 3.2 at 1,800 square feet for $349. We had a 4.3 1,958 square feet sell for $369 new construction. $369, another 4.3 1,958 square feet, and a larger one, 2,100 square feet, sell at $419.9, and same floor plan, sell at $425. We had the one resale that we sold in May. We sold a 2,500 square footer, closed that at $459. We've got another one under contract right now. 2 more that are under contract right now. Both closings going pretty smooth. Both are going to be pretty good pricing for the neighborhood. There's a really outstanding one. If you guys haven't seen, there's a really large home over on Johnson Bayou. For someone's looking for a lot of square footage, it's priced a little bit over $500,000, but it's a lot of house sitting right on that lake over there. And then we've got for anyone that is looking for something a little smaller, 3-bedroom homes don't come up very often in Breakfast Point, but there's a really nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath in excellent condition that's coming up here pretty soon. Couple things to think about on the sales side of things. The market's very, very, very good right now. For some reason, you are in the situation where you're selling in 2 or 3 months, but you're not quite ready yet. There may be some benefit in getting something out there a little earlier than that. The market's a little bit frenzied right now, but I expect that to stay pretty steady through the summer as long as the larger things that affect the economy stay in place, and we still are making headway in opening things up again. But again, the market, is really working in the favor of, or is doing pretty well right now. Interest rates are low, so there's a lot of demand from buyers still. There's plenty of buyers feel very confident in either their ability or the market in general to be making moves. So if you are selling, it's a pretty good time to be selling. A lot of things are sort of working in your favor. If you guys have any questions, I know that's a lot. If you have any questions about the market, shoot me a text or an email or give me a call anytime. I hope you guys find this stuff helpful. We'll be in touch next month with more updates. have some more closing sale prices for you. Thanks.